Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Dad's Turn to Talk. I am Bobby's parents' favorite moderator, Josh. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that like button. We timestamp all of our shows. So if there's a specific topic that you like, feel free to go to that specific segment. Tonight we have a lot to cover. Very fun show. But first, let's go ahead and introduce my partners in crime. The first one was a huge San Francisco fan last year and then kind of turned his back on them. Derek, how are we doing?
Still haven't taken that intro class, have you?
No. Still no.
Walk. Yeah, it's right on your face.
Yes, exactly. How's it going, buddy?
My allegiance has gone nowhere. I'll wear this if they're 4-13. All right?
Okay.
Thank you.
Aaron Rodgers might be their quarterback, I'm hearing.
I don't know about all that.
That's the latest rumor. Yep, they're talking about it.
No. I would doubt that.
They're not going to bench Purdy for
Rodgers?
No.
All right, we'll see. Anyway, my second partner in crime, Bob, I was happy for Jameis Winston going to the Giants until they just signed Russell Wilson.
That's typical. Yeah, look, if you were going to sign Jameis Winston, you need to go with the full Jameis Winston experience. Hey, be quiet. You need to go with the full Jameis Winston experience, which is him throwing for 500 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions in a game. That's what you're wanting when you have Jameis Winston.
Yes, I agree. And he's a leader.
Well, you do it. But yeah, that doesn't surprise me. They needed some quarterback depth anyway. And Russell, they had already been saying they were either going for Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson. So it's going to be one of the two.
I don't know. There's a latest rumor I've heard is that the Cowboys might trade away Prescott.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. But I don't think so. They just paid him all that money.
Yeah, I was about to say, where were they? They paid him a boatload of it too.
They did, but I could so see this happening. They trading him away and then getting Shakur Sanders.
Shadur.
Darn it! Why?
Well, you know why.
I don't know.
You got no excuse because I watched Coach Prime.
I watched Coach Prime. Yes,
there's no excuse for you getting his name wrong.
Oh, I think you make me nervous, Bob. That's what it is. You make me nervous, and that's what it is. Okay, anyway, whatever. All right, let's get started tonight. Lots to talk about. Let's hit our first topic. All right, so today, a very interesting day. Marvel had decided to release all of the people that are going to be in the new Avengers Doomsday movie, and apparently they were doing it at about 20 minutes at a time. Bob, are we going to have the full list of it? Okay, perfect. And apparently there's going to be more tomorrow. So
They're not saying it's going to be tomorrow. They're just saying at some point here in the future, they're going to be announcing more.
Okay. It's very hard for me to see.
I'll read it off.
So you go ahead and read it off to us, Bob.
All right. So these are who they've listed so far, because again, Robert Downey Jr. has said that there are going to be some more casting announcements soon. So we're looking at Paul Rudd as Ant-Man, Simu Liu as Shang-Chi, Tom Hiddleston is returning as Loki, Louis Pullman, who we haven't seen yet, but who's going to be playing Sentry and Thunderbolts, is going to be back. Florence Pugh as Elena. Danny Ramirez is returning as the Falcon 2.0. Ian McKellen is coming back as Magneto. Sebastian Stan as Bucky. Winston Duke as M'Baku. Chris Hemsworth as Thor. Kelsey Grammer will be back as Beast. James Marsden as Cyclops.
Oh, God.
Channing Tatum as Gambit. Wyatt Russell will be returning as U.S. Agent. Vanessa Kirby, who we haven't seen yet, will be back as Sue Storm. She'll be in the Fantastic Four, of course. Rebecca Romaine as Stamos as Mystique.
Nice.
Patrick Stewart will be back as Professor X. Alan Cummings as Nightcrawler. Letitia Wright as returning as Black Panther. Tenoch Huerta Mejia as Namor. Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards. Hannah John Kamen as Ghost. Joseph Quinn will be returning as Johnny Storm. David Harbour as the Red Guardian. Eben Moss Bachrach as the Thing. Anthony Mackie as Captain America. And to top it all off, Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom.
All right. Well, thank you for reading all of that. Wow, that is an action-packed list. Let's go ahead and start with you, Derico. What do you think about that list? What do you think about this movie? Go ahead.
Okay, so questions before we get started. There is supposed to be 2 of these, right?
Yes.
There's this one, and then there's going to be Secret Wars. They're filming them back to back.
So is this list for both of those movies, or this is just for Doomsday?
I think this is just for Doomsday. That's
Okay.
the impression I got.
Okay, so then you have the Avengers team members themselves. You've got the Thunderbolts. You've got Fantastic Four. And you've got X-Men from 2000. Did I get everybody there?
Yeah, I think so.
It's funny. X-Men 2000.
Well, I mean, that was when it was made, right? Or it was when 98.
It was
Okay.
just on the
Oh, it
other
was
day.
2000.
Okay, good. Then
2000.
hey, I did it. All right.
Because you and I saw the X2 in like 2002 together.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
came out 2 years later. Yeah.
All right. Well, guess you were just really going for star power on this one, or as much as you could find it. That's an awful lot. I have no idea how the old school X-Men got into this, or where they even fit in any of this.
Okay, if you saw Captain Marvel or not, or the Marvels,
Yeah.
at the end of that movie, there is a scene, one of their end credit scenes where, which one is it? Not Ms. Marvel, but Monica Rambeau ends up in one of the other universes, and she sees Kelsey Grammer's Beast. So they're saying they're from another Earth or whatever.
So they like stumbled upon
Yeah.
Kelsey Grammer Beast.
Oh yeah.
Derek, I got to say, when Bobby told me about this earlier today, we were talking on the phone, and I said, so who's in it? He's like, let me tell you who's not in it.
Hold on, Josh. Be quiet.
Oh,
Well, I was gonna. Okay, so I wanted to mention here that there's names that aren't on here, so I'm wondering if those names they're saving for the next one.
Okay, since Josh wanted to jump the gun, and
well, I didn't know.
hold on. Since Josh wanted to jump the gun, I put something together with some of the rumors for casting names that I've heard that are going to be coming out. So if you don't mind taking a few minutes, Derek, since he jumped the gun, I was going to wait till my turn. But
I got you. That's
so for in this week's, or this movie of Avengers multiple cameos, just some of the other actors and characters that I've heard that are returning. I've heard that William Shatner is going to be coming back as Captain Kirk, which I think is a good. Let's get him back in there.
Good choice. Yep.
Yes. I also heard that Emilia Clarke's going to be coming back as Daenerys Targaryen.
Buddy.
I've heard that Gerard Butler's coming back as King Leonidas.
I was wondering. Perfect.
Which, yes. This one's pretty good. Michael
Nice.
C. Hall is back as Dexter Morgan.
I vote for that.
Yes, I'm
Yes.
excited to see this one back.
That should be a must.
I did hear Godzilla's returning to play himself in the movie. Lily told me about that one earlier.
Yep.
So that's good.
Rocky.
Sylvester Stallone will be back as Rocky Balboa.
Perfect.
So, which is good because he really took down some monsters in the ring, and the Avengers going to be fighting some monsters here. So that'll be good. I did hear that Arnold Schwarzenegger will be back as the Terminator.
The T-101.
This one's pretty good. Ewan McGregor is back as Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Hello there.
Now Josh is not happy.
Yeah. Also, I did hear that Keanu Reeves would be back as Neo. Now, these next few are just rumors on these, but but there's a strong possibility they will be there. I did hear that Mario and Luigi will be back.
It's me, Mario.
They're going to play themselves. I did hear that the Power Rangers are going to be morphing in.
You have to include the Green Ranger. It doesn't count.
Yes. And finally, I did hear that the Care Bears will be returning.
Oh, that would be epic. That would be epic.
Which Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom doesn't stand a chance with that Care Bears stare.
With that stare. Not at all.
So those are some of the casting rumors that I'm hearing of people that will be back for this movie.
That was well done.
All right. Very good. All right. So
go ahead, Derek.
Okay, go ahead, Derek.
Okay, so like I mentioned, how the X-Men get involved with this, I don't know. But I guess they're going to be there. I mean, I don't know if they have like major of a role they play, if they do play a major role. The Fantastic Four, that's a fast turnaround. Although I don't think that the Brady Bunch with robots is going to be able to do anything that's exquisite here. And then the Thunderbolts, that's also a quick turnaround. So it's like they're introducing these new heroes, and then it's like right on to the Avengers. So I can understand that to a certain degree because they've had so many strikeouts that they're hoping, I think, that the Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four are trying to move. They're trying to pivot, like they're trying to get to the new direction. So I can appreciate that. They're trying to start from scratch, probably in many ways. Can I tell you some names I didn't see on that list?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. And this, I'm figuring this is probably going to factor into the next one, but I could be dead wrong.
Okay.
No Spider-Man.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, Bob.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you earlier if Spider-Man was in there.
I'll tell you my thoughts in a minute. Go ahead, Derek. Some of the other names.
The other two that I also noticed, which I'm assuming will be in the next one, because if you have a name like Avengers Doomsday, probably all the X-Men are going to get wiped out. So Deadpool and Wolverine have to come back here somehow. So there's how you make that tie.
Yeah.
And then if you really want to get crafty with this, it could be fun if you're going to do this version for this X-Men is the young cast from Futures Past for the second one. James McAvoy and all that crew.
Yeah.
Might as well if you're gonna do it.
I love all those guys.
I don't think we're gonna see Moon Knight. I think that's not gonna happen.
How about Daredevil?
Maybe
he's a possibility.
Yeah, he is. I think he's gonna go in the second one though, not the first.
Okay.
I think they've got so much happening with Born Again right now that they probably want to leave that alone. So yeah, that's probably it then. It's probably because they're introducing so much in this first one. Excuse me, guys.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine. They're introducing so much in this first one that probably a bunch of them are going to get wiped out. Then they're going to need some help, and that's where the help comes in. It's basically like Endgame, where Ant-Man wasn't in the first, but he was in the second. And then you have the Guardians in the first, they get wiped out. So It's probably going to follow that trend, I think. Do we want to get to the Kevin micromanagement, or do we want to save that conversation?
No,
we'll touch on that here in a minute.
Okay. I mean, they need a home run. They're trying to get it any way they can. So, those are a lot of names. Not all of them work. I could see about probably a third of that list going away, and I don't think anybody would care. But, okay, Marvel, we'll try it your way. So that's me.
All right, Bobo. Let's hear it.
They're throwing everything but the kitchen sink at this. I agree with you, Derek. Some of these are going to get wiped out because there is just no way anybody's going to get any sort of meaningful role in this. You're going to have people just get wiped out. And I do think there are certain ones they want to carry over. So I think the Fantastic Four will be fine. I think a couple of the Thunderbolts will be fine because I do think they want to carry some of them over.
Sure.
But I just don't see everybody making this out or making it out. As far as some of the other characters that are supposedly supposed to be in it that we didn't see anything announced yet. Like I said, Robert Downey Jr. said there's going to be more announcements, and it sounded like it's going to be more announcements for Doomsday. A lot of people have speculated about Chris Evans being in it because there's rumor about him being in it. You know, that he's going to be playing a variant of Steve Rogers, the Nomad version. There's also rumor about the original Avengers returning to team up in Secret Wars. There's all sorts of rumors. There's the possibility they're saying of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man showing up, which could be interesting. But what about Tom Holland's Spider-Man? I want to see him. I mean, he is the Spider-Man of the MCU. So
can I say one thing, Bob, about that? I thought about that. I hate to interrupt what you have to say because you're saying a lot of good stuff, but think about Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Last that we saw him, he started over, right?
Yeah.
So is that kind of maybe that's why they're thinking about Tobey Maguire coming in, who is a established Spider-Man versus Tom Holland's now, who is not considered established? Am I wrong?
I think you're wrong because here's the thing. People just forgot that Peter Parker was Spider-Man. They didn't forget about Spider-Man.
Yeah,
so he's not necessarily starting over as Spider-Man. Also, keep in mind in Daredevil, in the first episode when Kingpin was running for mayor, he mentioned Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
right. He's not starting over. Right. So yeah, Tom Holland's Spider-Man should be in this. Okay. So there's a lot of characters that supposedly could be in this thing. My problem is with them having so many and them throwing all these names out there. It's just nobody's going to get any quality screen time. The only way that that's going to happen is you are going to have to eliminate some people, or maybe this is the cast list for both films and they just didn't say that.
Yeah,
maybe it is the cast list for both films, but we'll see. The impression I got is that this was the cast list for Avengers Doomsday because after they announced that cast list, they did a little promo that popped up that said Avengers Doomsday. So that's why I'm thinking that overall, I'm still going to see this, but throwing all of that out there really didn't change my, excitement level or anything like that. Oh, another one that they didn't announce that I kind of hope makes an appearance is Ms. Marvel, Kamala Khan.
Yeah, that's right.
I may not have liked Captain Marvel, or I may not have been a big fan of She-Hulk or some of these others, but Ms. Marvel, I actually thought she was kind of cool. And I like the actress. She actually respects the comics. So I'd like to see her get an opportunity to, if there's actually a moment where they asked her about like the Earth that she was on and they listed a number or whatnot, and she corrected them and said, no, that's the version from the comics. This is the version that we're doing. And she named off the Earth number and all that. And she actually corrected Kevin Feige on it.
Oh, so for her.
So she likes the comics. So if there's any of the Disney Plus characters besides maybe Kate Bishop or whatnot, bring Kamala Khan back. I was cool. I was fine with her. So
Doctor Strange. On that list.
He wasn't announced, and we know he's going to be in this. There's no way he's not.
No, he has to be at this point.
So So I thought, I couldn't believe how many people are in this. The one I'm missing is, and I told Bob earlier, I'd like to see Edward Norton's Hulk in this.
That has been done for quite some time.
I mean, the way they've treated Hulk and Mark Ruffalo, I don't know. I am happy.
Now that you said that, you're going to get She-Hulk before you get that Hulk.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's a rumor. She's going to be in it.
That's a rumor already. Even before you said that, it was a rumor. Bobby told me earlier. I've heard about it. I hope not. I hope James Marsden is a much different Cyclops in this, and not the little baby that Cyclops was in.
He won't be. Don't worry.
All of those, probably not. He'll probably be like, "Oh, I miss what's her name? Jean. Where is Jean? I hope not. I hope we get him fighting in this.
Which notice she wasn't announced for this. Her
No, she was
character.
not.
No, she was not. She was not. And like Derek said, either
Channing
was
Tatum
Wolverine.
was.
Who?
Channing Tatum was.
Yes. Well, people went crazy for Gambit. Are you kidding?
Mhm.
Of course they did. Of course they would do that. I'm not surprised.
Well, to be fair, Wolverine did put the blades right to Jean Grey's stomach in the 2000
Right.
version.
But remember, they brought her back
for Days
with
of Future Past.
Days of Future Past.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They did. Okay, well, then.
Because when Wolverine woke up in the future and she was still alive.
Right. So she could be there. Storm also. I'm trying to think of what's her name? The one who you can't touch.
Rogue.
Oh, Rogue.
Rogue. They didn't, I was curious if they'd bring her in. I do like Derek's idea of in Secret Wars bringing that cast, First Class, back. I think that would
I'd be down for that.
I think that would be really cool because I really like movies, except for Dark Phoenix, obviously. But yeah, and then so let's talk about the other news associated with all this. That it came out earlier this week, I guess, or last week, that Kevin Feige was
Came out Monday,
on Monday, was not really happy with the Russos, and that it came about that their latest movie was a flop, and so that he basically wanted to be there for every step of the way and make changes if he needed to. So let's go ahead, since Derek had to step away. Bob,
let me see if I can pull up the article real quick.
Let's read this article, and then we will get your opinion.
All right. So basically,
right,
the issue is that the Russos apparently the film The Electric State wasn't a very big critical hit, and because of that, there's rumor going around that Kevin Feige is actually worried about the Avengers movies, and he wants to micromanage it a little bit better than what he did on the first few Avengers movies that the Russos did, or the last two Avengers movies. So I don't know if this is necessarily a good thing, because Phase 4 was pretty bad, and 5 hasn't really been off to a good start, except for a couple of things here and there. Like, I don't think he's got really a leg to stand on here. I say let the Russos do their thing. I'm not saying that it's going to be great, but can't be any worse than the garbage we've been getting. So that's the rumor.
5? What started Phase 5? What movie?
It was Ant-Man, Quantum Mania.
Oh, okay.
Or Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantum Mania.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think you have to let them do what made them successful, because Infinity War was successful, Winter Soldier was successful, Endgame was successful, Civil War was successful. Like, I trust them. Who I don't trust is Kevin Feige.
Yeah. And let's see. Because basically this article saying how outside of the MCU, the duo haven't found really success of the Russos. And so because of that, he's wanting to just make sure that everything goes well with these next two Avengers films. But again, personally, I think they've proven that they can handle it. And so let's give them a shot. Again, it can't be any worse than what we've been getting. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? That it sucks? I mean,
they've already hit that.
It's already been sucking. They've already been losing a lot of money as it is. So again, what more could happen? Well, I mean, I guess they could lose quite a bit of money because they're filming these back to back. But I just don't see how Kevin Feige's involvement can make the films better, is what I'm thinking. I just don't know how.
Because look what he's done with most of the other films. Since 2020. It's not been good. And Derek, I know you're. Can you hear us? You back?
Yeah,
on?
I can hear you. Yeah,
All right,
I listened to you the whole time.
Okay, so we were just discussing, wanted to get your opinion. Do you feel that Bob and I feel that they should let the Russos do their thing based on the success of Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame, and that Kevin Feige should not be worried about their latest movie, which has flopped, and that the one to worry about is Kevin Feige? Any thoughts on any of that?
I just told you I heard everything you said.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm. All right.
F.
All right. I can tell you exactly why he's doing it is because he knows that he's under pressure and he needs a home run. And he is going to make sure that can do everything in his power to keep it that way. Now I understand that the Russos had success with all those films. The challenge that they are up against right now is the fact that there's been so much all over the map
Yeah.
that to try to tie all of this together is going to be extremely hard. And he can try to micromanage that all he wants, and the Russos can try to put the best story they can together with that, but it still might not connect just based off how many different directions they've gone. So
Very good point.
Yeah. I mean, the reason look, everything that happened Endgame prior to that, that's lightning in a bottle. That's never going to happen again. So I'm not expecting there to be something really epic. Once you finish that Endgame, that was pretty much as epic as it was going to get.
Yes.
But I did think that there was a way that you could do, a second set of Avengers movies because I know the comics well.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if Kevin, how do you pronounce his name? Feige?
Feige.
I don't know if Kevin Feige just.
Don't ask Josh.
Okay. Yeah.
No, I know his name. I don't know your name, Robert.
I don't know if having Kevin Feige just be like peeking over the fence like 24 hours a day is going to help. It's
right. It's going to make
do it all he
everyone.
wants. I mean, at the end of the day, a bad movie is a bad movie, and a good movie is a good movie.
Now, do we know if, I think I know this, that the end credits for Fantastic Four is supposed to lead into this? Am I right, Bob?
That's the rumor.
So,
I don't know, Josh. I haven't seen the movie yet.
I don't, but you read rumors all the time, so I just didn't know if you had seen the rumor.
Well, that's rumor until,
You know what? Shut up, Bob. I give up. I just give up. Good. See, I chased him away. Thank God he's done, Derek. Isn't that great?
You did nothing. Shut up.
I'm still here, Josh.
Derek and Josh show.
I'm still here.
Shut your stupid little hole.
Shut up. All right. So, yeah, lots of stuff that went on today. We'll see what happens, in the coming days or weeks. Gentlemen, anything else you want to discuss about this?
Yeah, real quick, Josh. You see, you didn't actually chase me away. You see, if it was actually gone, I would have disappeared off the screen like this. And then,
You're not funny.
Yes, it is.
You know what? You shut up, Derek. I'm tired of you. I'm tired of you. Go back inside, and that's it.
No.
Leave it to Bobby and I.
no, but seriously, Josh, nothing else to because I mean, we saw the cast list. Well, I mean, what can you say? It's loaded, but that's not necessarily a good thing. And as far as this goes, like Derek said, it's either going to be good or it's not. Micromanaging it is not going to make it better. He's not a director. So
no, that's probably the most vital point about this.
Right.
He doesn't know how to do that. The Russos do.
Exactly.
And I'm sorry, I am just not sold on Robert Downey Jr. coming back as the bad guy for this.
I'm not either.
Yes, you are.
Why do you say that? Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm going to tell you both this once again. I said we needed Dr. Doom, not once. And you guys can go back and look. Did I ever?
You also said we needed to see Robert Downey Jr. again.
Yes, as Iron Man. As Iron Man, never as Dr. Doom. Cillian Murphy should be playing him.
I agree. I agree with that. Cillian Murphy, I think, would be perfect.
I mean, come on. It's ridiculous. You have Iron Man, And basically, they probably did it because Kevin Feige is like, well, we can't bring him back. He died. He sacrificed himself, but we need somebody to help us here. He just won an Academy Award. So we'll just make him a variant of Dr. Doom.
He will be in the second one as Iron Man. He'll have a little cameo there.
Yeah, you watch.
You're gonna have all get your wish, all right?
I wouldn't doubt if they have all the original Avengers team together.
Yeah, because they didn't even mention, what's his name? Hawkeye. But I don't know if
he's another rumored one who's supposed to be in it, but we didn't see him listed.
Got it.
If you remember, he wasn't in Infinity War. He didn't show up till Endgame.
They're at a point now where they're trying to rest on laurels from everything they've done prior.
Yeah.
I mean, not everything. I mean, you got Thunderbolts and you got Fantastic Four, but like I said before, I mean, the X-Men 2000, that's, boy, we're stretching awfully.
I mean, I don't know what they're going to do with that.
I don't know.
I really don't. I am excited about Thunderbolts, though. I am excited about Thunderbolts.
I am too. Like I said, I think it has a great potential to be a fun surprise.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm thinking Iron Man and Ant-Man, first ones, kind of a surprise.
Hope so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. It doesn't have to be like, oh, it's as epic as The Dark Knight or something. I don't need that.
No.
I just need fun. That's it.
I can't believe you put Iron Man and Ant-Man in the same sentence.
Right, those were very good movies.
Yeah, but look, do you really think that Thunderbolts is going to be on the same level as Iron Man?
No, not at all.
No, but more along the level of Ant-Man.
Maybe.
And I know what you're saying. That it's going to be a surprise is what you're thinking.
Yes.
But given how goofy it looks from the trailers, I'm hoping it's a goofy surprise like Ant-Man was.
Yeah.
Not going to be anything close to Iron Man because Iron Man had some humor, but it was not goofy.
No. It was slick humor. I mean, when you got like David Harbour as
I have the Red Guardian. Oh, this guy is so cool.
I think that when you have him, it's going to be funny. There will be parts to it that are funny.
Yes.
And they look like they are kind of like slapsticky a little bit with blowing stuff up, which is why it kind of looked fun. So that's why I think it could be a fun surprise. Just watching like the dynamic between them could be a good time.
Yeah, definitely. All right, guys, Derek, anything else?
Good luck.
All right.
I mean, you know what's sad is that I like a lot of the folks who are associated here, but
yeah, you're just nervous.
But everybody's like, it's like trying to like roll dice right now, and it's looking like it could hit Snake Eyes pretty easily. But again, this comes out it's November
next year, I think.
Yeah, is it like
next year, May?
Let me see if I can get a release date. Hold on.
Okay.
As of right now, it's showing May 1st, 2026. So next,
all right. I thought it was
in a year.
Okay.
1 year from now. That's pretty crazy.
I'll say this: if it's just barely going into production and they're going to have it done in a year,
don't say it. Don't say it.
Well, now that Josh has said something, it'll probably be pushed back. So look, it's good time.
Well, no, it's not even that. I'm more concerned that it isn't going to be even a quality movie.
Derek.
Well, yeah. I mean, unless they've been sitting on this script, that's not going to help you, Josh. Unless they've been sitting on this script for a while, we just don't know about it, and they've had all these plans. I don't know.
Is Josh really?
Stop being immature, Bob.
No.
All right, man.
All right, that's it.
All right, let's go on to the next subject.
All right.
All right, so last night we got a treat. Not one, but 2 new episodes of Daredevil on Disney Plus. Daredevil Born Again, excuse me. I will give my reviews in a little bit, but Derek, let's go ahead and start with you. What did you think of episodes 5 and 6?
First of all, I feel like I'm gonna miss the intros. I've gotten quite used to those, and that's well done stuff. Thank you for good as always, Bob.
You got it, man.
So we're doing both 5 and 6. You want me to go
Yeah.
5 first, then 6?
Well, if you want to talk about 5 and then talk about 6,
Okay,
it's
I'll
fine.
talk-
But
yeah.
go ahead and give your thoughts on both episodes.
Okay, so I'll break down 5. First of all, I like them both. I had a very good time, very entertaining, both of them. 5 is, it's interesting how these are working because we are getting it's like all the stuff that we grew up with in, for like movies, like you had a courtroom movie and now you have a bank heist movie, and next,
True.
in the next one now it's like, who knows, we could get a psychological thriller along those lines. So
Right.
it seems like they're trying to hit all the stuff from when we were young. But I did like 5 because 5 basically shows how Daredevil does get born again. He goes from Matt Murdock. At the end of it, he's full-fledged Daredevil, even though he doesn't have the suit. Yes, Josh. But I had a lot of fun with that. I was wondering, and maybe Bob, you can help me answer this: is the Irish guy who runs that gang, is that Bullseye?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Eric asked me that earlier, and I said I didn't think it was, but
Let me look up.
Yeah.
Let me look that up. But I
no,
don't think
because
so.
we've seen what Bullseye looks like.
No, I know, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just off. He wore a mask like all the way through it, so I was having a hard time figuring it out.
Yeah, no, I don't think that. No, that wasn't him.
No,
Okay.
the one in the green mask, correct?
Yeah.
Is who
Yeah.
you're talking- yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, never mind. I love the fact that it had some Irishness to it at the beginning and the end, because those are my people.
Yeah.
It's nice to have my people there. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought it was interesting to watch Matt Murdock kind of walk in and play like, oops, I'm blind now, guys. Hi. Oh, I'm sorry. Where am I? I love it when he does that just to mess with people. It's just perfect. It's great.
Yes.
And then at the, towards the end, when he basically finds all sorts of little ways to, intrude upon the bank robbers' plans, that's where Daredevil really comes to fruition and born again. So I had a lot of fun with it. I understand that there's been some comments out there about how this episode was filler. I just thought it was another layer to having Matt Murdock become Daredevil. So I had a lot of fun with that. And Josh, what you've been wanting, you got a lot of action in this.
Yes.
That fight on the stairs reminded me a lot of the Jason Bourne movies. I thought that was great. I hope I get to see more of that. So that was episode number 5 for me. A good time. The only thing that kind of shocked me was that you kind of got references to Kingpin in episode 5, but there was no Kingpin. I mean, this was just Matt Murdock. So, okay. And number 6, the Kingpin gets born again. He comes to one cannot live without the other.
No.
That is why these two are next to each other on a poster, is because now they are linked from here on out. So the villain had to come back around. The scene, my favorite scene probably out of the whole thing, is when Daredevil's just whooping down Muse, but Kingpin's whipping down Adam at the same time.
Hey, real quick, I just
go ahead.
realized we forgot to put up the spoiler warning, but
please do. Yes, thank you.
Here we go.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
So after 5 minutes of spoilers, you guys have been warned that there are more spoilers coming.
That's the very definition of better late than never.
Goodness, moderator, you're supposed to be on top of that.
I was so excited about Daredevil, I forgot. I apologize.
All right. Just this once. All right. So, like I said, my favorite my favorite scene in the episode 6 was when Daredevil and Kingpin are beating up their adversaries. And I thought it was pretty violent how Daredevil just basically choked out and hung Muse. He let his Punisher side come out very, very aggressively there.
He didn't kill him. Because he escaped. He
basically just knocked him out.
Yeah, so he could get to the girl.
exactly.
Right, because he did escape, right?
I know.
Yeah. No, well, yeah, because he heard the girl's heartbeat stopping.
Right.
Yeah,
Correct.
so she was slowing down, so he knew he had to rush and deal with that. Meanwhile, Kingpin just decided to absolutely destroy Adam
Yeah.
by himself. He didn't ask for any help doing that.
No. One-on-one.
Yep.
Give him
Here,
that.
take this. I'll even give you this. Take an axe. See what you can do. And so that was how this story is now going to finish taking place. It's going to be the fight between these two. Excuse me. That diner scene, there was a reason they did that, and this is it. So it's going to be Kingpin and Daredevil from here on out, 7, 8, and 9. So I'm looking forward to it. I was entertained. I had a fun time with both of them.
Okay. Babo, what do you think? We've not heard any of it from you, so I'm very curious.
That's
All
true.
right, well, here's another perspective.
Uh-oh.
No, I actually enjoyed episode 5. I do understand why a lot of people said it was filler because it is very different from the rest of the series. It doesn't have the Kingpin in it, like you mentioned, Derek. It's like a good example of what I kind of thought of is it felt like an episode of regular television, like where you have a serialized drama going on, but then you have that one-off episode going here and there. But that usually works better in like a 24 episode season or something like that. Here you only have 9, so you got to make the most of them. So it did feel a little out of place, except when you got to the ending of it, where he actually participates in being a vigilante again and takes down that criminal, but he does it wearing a mask. And I thought that was very significant because he does take a step forward to become Daredevil again at that point. Then, so I thought it was entertaining. Also, Camilla Khan's father, I mentioned her earlier.
Yes,
that was Camilla Khan's father, Ms. Marvel's father. And so I thought it was cool that they brought the actor back to once again play her dad for that for the role in this movie or in this show. So I give them props because that was a cool way to do a cameo from one of the other characters. It wasn't silly or anything like that. They brought a character that was in a silly show and put him into a serious show, and it was done, I thought, pretty well. So I enjoyed that.
Can I say one thing? He was in Marvel.
Yes, that was Ms. Marvel's father.
Okay, because I got confused and I told Derek this. I thought when I first saw him, it was Jensen from Iron Man.
No.
And I was like, how is this possible? And then when people started, I looked up online that people were saying, because I didn't know who he was. And everyone's like, oh, it's Miss Marvel. You know, it's all that. So, okay, go ahead.
Let me ask you a question. You just asked us if that was Miss Marvel's father, but you already looked it up and knew the answer.
No, never mind. Just go ahead. Go ahead.
So anyway, I thought that was kind of cool to bring him into it because again, they brought a character from a silly show into one that was more serious, and I thought it was well done. So I'll give them credit for that. Overall, I had a good time with episode 5. It did have a lot of filler, but that ending I thought was really cool. Fast forward into episode 6. I thought episode 6 was really cool. It even starts off with a look at Daredevil and at Kingpin, kind of where you see Daredevil kind of going through his morning ritual with his lady.
Yeah.
And you see Kingpin also kind of doing his thing. And so they're kind of paralleling each other. And I thought that was kind of cool because then they do it again at the end of episode 6, where you're seeing both reborn. You're seeing Matt Murdock become Daredevil, and you're seeing the Kingpin once again become the Kingpin, which I think is important because they neutered him in earlier iterations of him in the MCU in both Hawkeye and in Echo. So in this, they actually got him back to being the Kingpin. Like you said, Derek, he throws Adam the axe. He's like, you know what? I learned growing up that sometimes you got to have a tool to even the odds. And so he throws it to him, and he comes right at him with the axe and ends up wiping him out still.
Yeah.
I thought that was I thought that was great because that was the Kingpin. But you notice he didn't kill Adam.
No, he didn't.
Adam's still breathing at the end, and he's just kind of sitting there above him. He's kept his promise to Vanessa. He didn't kill him, but he beat the snot out of him. And so I thought that was really cool. And again, it parallels what's going on with Daredevil as he's fighting Muse. Muse turns out to be kind of a cool villain in this.
It was a good touch.
So I kind of like what they're doing with this character. He's still around, so obviously we're still going to go somewhere with that. Overall, I enjoyed episode 6. I thought, again, the way they brought the characters back to life, both of them, I thought was well done, and I really enjoyed it. So that last 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes of episode 6 has been my favorite thing that they've done so far this season. So let's see where it goes from here.
Yeah.
Is it still the Netflix show? No, it's not.
No.
But I did mention this to Josh. What I heard was that the creative team from the Netflix show that they brought back in to put this one together during all the reshoots, the ones they specifically filmed were the last set of episodes, the last 3.
Oh, nice.
Before that was what was already there, and they just kind of reworked some of it and filmed a few new things for it, but a lot of that was already there. So they just kind of worked it around that. So we should really get to see what they created going forward. So I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, that's great news, actually. Now I'm really excited.
Yeah, because the way it ended, give me more of that.
Really well done. Really well done. They
and I liked the setup, what they did with the cops, where Kingpin now basically kind of has his own little army.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually what I like. That was the other scene where I noticed Kingpin being reborn, because he's a criminal. He runs empire. Like, that's him.
Yeah.
And so then he created one, but he did it with cops. So no matter how nice these two play in the real world, they are what they are, and that's what you get by the end of it. So,
and I thought it was cool because he says to that commissioner, I guess it was, or chief, or whoever he was, he's like, we're gonna offer him incentives like overtime and no body cameras, so basically saying they can beat the snot out of whoever they want and nothing. So.
Excuse me. I love that.
Hey, Josh.
One more nice touch I wanted to call out.
I know I had a scratch though. I did have a scratch.
You always have a scratch. Thank you. Okay, so
yeah, you made a mistake before, Bob. So
go off camera, man.
Well, go ahead, Derek. Or is it my turn?
One more nice touch I liked was when Daredevil was running at Muse, but you don't really see it. You just see the red kind of glimmering light, and then Daredevil just comes in, guns blazing, all gas, no brakes, and starts just whipping on the Muse. That was fun. That was good stuff. All of it was good. It's good times. That's me.
Got it. I loved episode 5. It is my favorite episode so far of this series. I thought it was like very well put together. Yes, you didn't have Kingpin in it, but in a way, everyone who's saying it was a filler episode, I don't agree with that. I loved how we finally got Daredevil, even though you just put a mask on at the end. I just thought it was so entertaining, and that was funny how the villain, how he made the detective, he's like, tell me a joke, and she just thought of something right off.
Pretty good, actually.
Yeah, and he just started laughing.
Yeah.
And then, Derek, I totally agree with you. You get that Bourne Identity vibe in the stairwell. He grabbed conveniently enough, he grabbed the red mask to put on. Oh, that's right. That's very good. Yeah. And so that was awesome. And then the diamond, how he switched it with the heart candy and had the girl take it. And I was like, oh, wow. I loved it. I thought it was entertaining. Lots of action. Episode 6, I liked. I loved the ending. I loved what you guys said. I thought Kingpin and Daredevil being the mirror images of each other was very well done. I loved the villain Muse. What he did not mess around. I loved how just Daredevil came in and just whipped him, and then Kingpin whipped Adam, and it was very well done. My only issue with the episode, and it's very minimal, I felt the first 20 minutes so was boring. I felt it took a while to get to that ending. Whereas
you could make the case, though, couldn't you, that you needed that 20 minutes to get to that ending?
I don't know.
The whole point of the episode is to show them in parallel, moving on the same track.
I get that, but I guess because it followed episode 5, which was so good and had so much action in it, but also had conversations, but it was suspenseful. This to me just took, and in my head, Derek, I'm trying to think about what you said about peeling the layers back. And I just feel that they could get to where they needed to be much faster than what we got, because that last 20 minutes was awesome.
So you wanted a Robert Downey Jr. cameo to start off the 20 minutes, then you wanted rockets and...
Okay, why do you have to insult me? Why? Why do you have to insult? I'm trying to give my opinion. What I'm going to do is say, okay, you guys are right. And then that's it. I'm going to stop talking. But it goes back to Robert Downey Jr. for some reason. Episode 5 was incredible. I loved episode 5. It was not a filler. It just, they needed an episode where he would finally be born again. And really, he saw this, huge bank heist, and it was the perfect way. It was old school, like you said, Derek, where you said, you watched a TV series and one episode was a bank heist and another episode, was a political thriller or whatever. We needed this to get him going again. And then the next episode, you had Kingpin Reborn. I just felt you needed to get there a little bit quicker. There's just, to me, too much talking and not enough, it's just very slow. That first 20 minutes, just, I was getting tired, and then it picked up and I was all in. I literally was like, okay, this is awesome. And the fights and the ending was done perfectly. So I'm very curious what Bob said about that the original people from the Netflix show came back in at 7, 8, and 9.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing, is that they were brought in to film those last few episodes to kind of tie everything together and rework what they already had. So take that's for what it's worth, because that's what I heard. Just
okay.
I don't know how true that is. That's just what I heard.
Well, you guys watched the Netflix show all through, so you'll know pretty much more than me. If you think it, is more gritty, probably.
Yeah, it definitely has a darker feel to it. I mean, this one's had a gritty feel too, but that one's on another. The Netflix one's on another level. It's incredible.
So what you're thinking, Derek, is Kingpin versus Daredevil in episode 9?
Maybe probably. Not necessarily. It doesn't have
season
to end
2.
with them. Season 2.
Season 2. I don't think we'll see them go hand to hand this season, and if we do, I don't think there's going to be a winner.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they'll be it. Basically, the way I think this could end, now that I'm thinking about it, will be Daredevil ripping apart Kingpin's empire, not Kingpin himself. That's a good point.
Okay.
So he takes out the cop army. He takes out any other henchman that the Kingpin has.
Right.
And maybe grabs Frank Castle along for the ride. Hopefully.
Right.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I thought he was supposed to be in last night's episode.
Which one? Who would?
I thought the Punisher was supposed to be in one of last night's episodes, but he wasn't.
I don't know. Yeah.
Maybe they were referring to the other one. Who was the guy who talked to Kingpin about the $1 million, or who is that guy?
Just some gang member.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That was, who that actually was, Bob? Better Call Saul. Do you remember that Latin guy with the suit?
Which role did he play in Better Call Saul?
Tio calls him in because he gets, the heart medic, is basically oh god, what's his name? Now I'm forgetting all the names. Basically, Tio gets constricted to that wheelchair, and that's how he starts ringing the bell. So he calls in additional family members to come in. I think his name was Hector, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, are you talking about Lalo?
Lalo, yes.
Yes. I thought Josh is talking about another guy, though.
No,
You're talking about the guy who was asking that Kingpin said he had to pay $1.8 million.
Yes. Is that not the guy Derek's talking about?
No, the guy Derek's talking about, he was at that dinner party.
Yeah, he was at the dinner party and said that's not a threat, that's a warning.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, so the guy you're talking about, Josh, as far as I know, he's just some henchman. Remember earlier there was a dispute between some of the gangs. Because, and the wife was trying to take care of it, and it was kind of, it wasn't working out the way it was supposed to, and they agreed, okay, well, he's got to pay some money. Well, he came out and said, I'm not paying it. And Kingpin says, you got until the end of the week. And now that we've seen Kingpin go off on Adam, I don't think this guy stands a chance if he doesn't pay.
No.
That was fun to see.
Kingpin's going to reclaim his empire. Let's put it that way.
Oh, yeah.
He's taking it all back, and that's what Daredevil has to crumble. That's what it's going to be.
Got it.
But it was funny. It was fun to see Lalo. I saw him, and I'm like, Bob, where are you?
There we go. Yeah, I saw him, and I was like, ah!
It was good. It was fun. That was great.
That's funny. All right. Anything else, gentlemen? Or are we good with Daredevil?
I think we're good. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I am too. Can't wait for the last 3 episodes.
It'll be fun.
All right. Let's go on to the next topic, Bob. That was funny. Do we need a spoiler warning for this one or not?
We're not talking about necessarily about the movie. Well, I mean, I guess we could mention a little bit, but yeah, I'll throw a spoiler warning out there just in case we mention anything about it.
All right.
Hold on.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
Oh, yeah. So last week, Snow White finally arrived in movie theaters. Our man Bob was the first one to see it opening night, Thursday night. I was going to go see it on Saturday, and thank God Bob convinced me not to, and everybody else who wrote online at how bad was it convinced my wife to not go see it. So we did not see it. Boy, we've been talking about this, gentleman, for a couple of years now, and everything came true. It was horrible. It's going down as IMDb has basically had it at a 1.8 out of 10 or something I read earlier. Gentlemen, why don't we go around the room here, go around the table, and kind of talk about our thoughts about this. And Bob, let's go ahead and just start with you this time, since you actually saw the movie.
The movie's garbage. It's one of the worst. No, not one of the worst. This is the worst Disney remake that there is out there. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. This is an awful movie. And Rachel Zegler's not even the problem with it. I think she was fine with the singing. I'm not saying her performance was great, but I think she did well enough with the material that she had. But the movie itself is just awful. The new songs are terrible. Gal Gadot, there's no way in hell this woman is going to be jealous of Rachel Zegler's beauty. So they have to change what fairest of them all means to really being about the inside. And so that's just absolutely ridiculous. And then speaking of Gal Gadot, I love Gal Gadot, but God, her performance was awful. She was like an absolute cartoon character. Easily one of the worst performances she's ever given. And part of the problem is she was playing the role so over the top and really hamming it up because she was playing I guess because she was playing a Disney villain. But nobody else was hamming their performances up, so she really doesn't fit into it. Some of the other changes, there is no prince in this. There is a bandit who's like Robin Hood, and he's got his merry men, and they're fighting in the name of the king, and they're robbing everybody, but it's implied that they're giving it to the poor, but we never actually see that happen. So as far as I know, they're keeping it all. So you see them robbing from the palace and everything. There's lots of speeches about fairness and oppression and sharing and how we need to share everything that we got. And it was all of that was distracting. Dwarves look like garden gnomes, really bad ones. They're ridiculous looking, dopey. They took Grumpy's character arc from the 1937 film and they gave it to Dopey.
Shame.
And Dopey out of the blue starts talking, and the Wicked Queen doesn't actually die, being chased by the dwarves like she does in the original. Remember, she gets chased by the dwarves and falls off the cliff. Doesn't actually happen in this one. Instead, Snow White gets awakened, and she has a showdown with the Wicked Queen, where she walks into the city. And they had mentioned earlier in the film that nobody remembers what Snow White even looked like, but they all recognize her at this point for some reason. And they all start following her. And you've got all the townspeople, and they're lining up at the gate of the castle. And out comes the queen with all the guards. And she tells the guards to arrest Snow White. And Snow White starts telling all the guards, I remember you used to be a baker. And you got to remember all the good times. And, oh, I remember you used to be a farmer. And she starts telling this to all the people. And so they all instantly turn on the Wicked Queen. And the Wicked Queen runs back into the castle, asks the magic mirror who the fairest of them all is. The mirror says, you are outwardly beautiful, but Snow White inwardly is beautiful. And she gets mad, breaks the mirror, and she dies.
What?
Because she breaks the mirror.
Oh.
And then they end the movie with this ridiculous dance where they're all dressed in white. There are clips of it running all around social media. It just looks cool. That's going around everywhere. One of the other stupid things, and this is why I know that this wasn't included. The budget on this movie was like $250 million or something like that. When Snow White eats the apple and the dwarves take her to bury her, they don't put her in a glass coffin. They just lay her on a rock. And that's it. They just lay her on a rock. They couldn't afford the glass coffin, apparently, with that $250 million budget. But that's why I think that this wasn't intended to be put in there. I think that because of the backlash when Rachel Zegler said that she and Gal Gadot said that Snow White wasn't going to be saved by the prince, I think they threw this scene in there. Here, just throw her on the rock and we'll have the bandit come and give her a kiss and wake her back up. And it's crazy because she wakes back up and you see her dancing with the bandit at the end of the movie along with everybody else. And the movie has like the storybook opening and then the book closing at the end, like the original cartoon did. But when it gets to the very end, it's just a picture of Snow White on the last page. They don't even put the bandit who woke her up on there. I mean, he's like nowhere to be found after he kisses her, other except the dance scene. That's it. I'm like, dude, talk about being unappreciated, or underappreciated.
Let me ask you this: when the evil queen dies, is she back to her beautiful self again? She transfers back?
Yeah, she's back to her beautiful self. And it was just bad. So the movie's terrible. If you're listening to me, don't go see it. You'll be more entertained if you watch the Gremlins watching Snow White. That's more entertaining than watching this film. Now, on to the box office numbers, which is what we wanted to talk about here.
Yes.
Let me share my screen here. So, opening weekend, this movie did domestically $42,206,000. So it was an average of $10,000 per theater. It was enough to be the number one movie. However, when you factor this with what it made internationally, it made, I think I saw it was like 82 million. Currently, it's sitting at 92 million because this includes the last few days. But it was like at 82 million or something like that. To put that in perspective, that was below Dumbo.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
So most movies tend to make a third of what they're going to make over their lifetime on that opening weekend. So if we're going to use that as the measure and just say that they do that they're making a third, 82 million. So that gives them about 240 million approximately that they're going to make. In theory, they're making back their budget, but that's not including marketing, and that's not including the theater cut. This movie, when it's all said and done, is probably going to lose Disney anywhere from 150 million to about $200 million, if not more. So all I can say is, well, Disney, you guys did it to yourselves.
Yep.
This is how bad Disney knew that it was going to be. So when the premiere for Snow White was happening, that's when they released the trailer for Lilo and Stitch. The day that Snow White released, they released the first clip for Lilo and Stitch, and they released it online. That movie's not coming out for 2 months, and they already released the first clip online. So, yeah.
All right. Wow. Derico, what are your thoughts about all of this? I think you're not surprised, right?
Well, first, I'd like to thank Bob for taking all the bullets for us, so we didn't have to see this. Thank you for that.
Were
you're
interested
welcome.
in this, though?
What?
Were your boys interested in this?
No.
I didn't think so. Yeah.
I mean, maybe if I had told them about it, they probably would have been like, "Oh yeah, I remember that," but that would have been as far as it went.
Got it.
They didn't like outwardly say, "I want to go see it." You got to remember, I got a little one who is chomping at the bit for Minecraft right now.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
April 4th can't come fast enough.
Yeah, we're gonna go see that.
Yeah.
It's already. Yeah.
So like when he heard about Snow White, he's like, "Oh, okay, that's cool." But Minecraft comes out April 4th. I know, buddy. We're gonna go see it. But I mean, there's not really much to say here because we all saw it coming, didn't we?
Yep.
I mean, this
From
whole
years
thing,
ago.
this whole thing has just from the get-go managed to jump into a pit of snakes and just smack every cobra in the face while it was in there. There's not much more to say other than that. It's too bad that this started off with just Snow White and no dwarves, and they had to pull that back and put in dwarves, and then there's I guess a bandit, not a prince. Now the bandit should have been the fox from Robin Hood. There should have been a Prince John in it, and that would have made it better.
It would have. I see. That would have been a good movie. It took too many twists and turns to wrong places, and this is the result. So I don't know. In a way, I do feel for Disney too, because this is the one that I think this is the first film, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't feel bad for Disney, but I feel bad for Walt Disney rolling in his grave.
I mean, no. The point being is that you're trying to preserve your legacy here by doing this. That's bad luck. So
should have just left it alone.
I mean, that was probably the right call. And look, I'm a Gal Gadot fan, just like all three of us are here, but from what Bob's saying, that didn't even come close to helping this out. I know that Bob may have said that Rachel Zegler wasn't the problem with this film, but she was the problem plenty elsewhere from what we read.
There you go. You see, that's the thing. The movie itself she was not the problem with the movie.
Right.
He was the problem with a lot of the response to the movie before it even came out. Because unfortunately, I actually think she's a talented actress.
Mm.
She, though, is a very unlikable person with a lot of the stuff that she has done. And for that reason, it's just people didn't want to go and support her. So that was already working against her. You factor in the casting that they casted a Hispanic actress to play Snow White, and you're already going to have a controversial casting. Her job was to keep her mouth shut outside of the movie premieres itself. Just keep your mouth shut. Don't say anything controversial, and just nail the acting performance. If you do that, you will change public opinion. And because there was already going to be controversy, but she could have gotten through that based on the performance, because then people would have judged her based on the performance and not on something else.
Very well said.
But she couldn't help herself. So she already had the controversy, and then she added fuel to the fire, and that is on her.
Well, the other thing though is that even if she had, okay, let's play this out. Even if she had kept her mouth quiet, do you think that would have solved this from being a bad movie?
No. The movie itself probably still would have been bad.
No.
But I think people would have been fine with her performance. And even then, I'm reading a lot of people were like, okay, yeah, she wasn't that bad. And I got to give her credit, because I do think she worked with what she was given. And as far as the songs go, like, we already knew she could sing. If you've seen her in other movies, you know she can sing. So she did a good job with that. I'm going to give her that. But the movie itself, whoo.
But my point being is that maybe it would have saved the budget, like the bleeding financially, probably about like that much. It wouldn't have helped all that ultimately. And I get to your point, Bob. That's right. She just should have done that, because that's the professional thing to do. But I don't know if it would have saved. I don't know how much that would have saved this. Is my point, because even if you do that, what's bad is bad, unfortunately. So, yeah, like I said, snake bit. They was doomed from the start. So they're gonna take. Excuse me. They're gonna take Who Framed Roger Rabbit next, and find a way to ruin that. You watch. They're gonna take my movie and tear it apart.
The good thing is they can't do a live action version of it.
That was it.
Live actions.
Yeah.
I mean,
What are they going to do? Switch everybody and make the rabbits and cartoons, make them all live action, and then make all the humans cartoons?
That would be hysterical if they actually tried to do that.
That'd be the only thing you could do. I mean,
yeah.
Never mess with that one. That one's perfect.
No, leave that alone. That is gold. That is.
You know what? They should have never made this movie.
No, probably.
And if you were going to make this movie, I don't understand where you have this cartoon. You want to do live action. Just follow the story. That's the problem. Yes, Zegler did not help herself. She could not keep her mouth shut. That was the big thing. Is, she caused, I don't need saving. Snow White doesn't need saving. This movie is past its prime. We're doing something new and modern and bold. Then you had the whole issue with the dwarfs. And think about this, like Peter Dinklage, basically screwed over all of these little people who could have gotten a great job and instead got replaced by CGI. People who need jobs. I mean, Disney just I don't get the hierarchy up at Disney that they can't figure this stuff out, or they don't want to figure it out. And they just want to check off their boxes and do something. And now they've lost a ton of money with this film. And they need to figure out a way to not keep doing this. And, what's the definition of anarchy? Keep doing it over and over again.
That's insanity, Josh.
Insanity. I know it figures every week. And
But,
our
to your point, real quick about the dwarves, they do it because of one man's opinion, and they tried to be woke and say that, oh well, we don't want to insult anybody or anything, so we're not going to have we're not going to hire people with dwarfism to play the dwarfs because we don't want to do that. I mean, that's what it's called, right? Dwarfism. So I mean, they don't want to. They didn't want to do that. They weren't. They're not dwarves in the typical sense. They were a magical creature.
Well, yeah,
it's kind of like in the Lord of the Rings. Look, they had dwarves, they had hobbits, they had all that. It works.
Yeah,
There's nothing wrong with
dragons, they had elves, they had all sorts of things.
I know it works. People like that stuff in fairy tales.
Yep.
Guess what? It makes money.
Yep. They can't figure it out.
So that was and then I was telling Josh this, and my wife wanted to see this, but she knew of none of the stuff that was happening with it. She's a big Disney fan because she remembers it, growing up, she went there a lot. And, we've gotten to take our boys there, create our own memories out of it over at Disneyland. But, there's moments where I have to kind of warn her about things. And she had mentioned, she's like, oh, but it should be a fun live remake. And I'm like, no, I don't think it's going to be. And then I showed her everything that was going on. And she goes, wait, seriously? No dwarves? And I'm like, yeah. And she goes, that's the whole, like, what? You can't do that. And I'm like, well, so there you go. And by the way, like, the beautiful queen has a magic mirror too. Like, calm down. Okay. We're not talking about offending anybody. Yeah. This is everything in Disney has some fantasy element to it.
I know. Just leave it alone. Let's just have some fun. Quit and stop worrying because one actor voiced his opinion where you had other actors saying, hey, we want a job.
Yeah. Or you could have done what they did in Snow White and the Huntsman. They took a bunch of regular sized guys and just shrunk them down.
And that's what they did with like the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, they did. The Hobbits. Yeah. That's exactly what it was.
But you do feel bad for, these little people who could have been in these movies and get paid.
Yeah.
I know.
And it's very hard
there's not a lot of roles out there for actors, for those actors. And this was an opportunity for 7 of them.
I mean, that would have been amazing. And instead, nope. And we were going to make a CGI. Only one of those CGI characters was a little person, by the way.
Oh, man.
Everybody else, nope. And then to have Dopey talk? Dopey?
Yeah, that you can't.
Come on.
Yeah, just
it's ridiculous.
All right, I'm done talking about Snow White. Gosh.
I was about to say, what are we going to try next? Mr. Toad's Wild Ride?
No, they're going to do a live action Moana. I know that. So we'll see.
Well, Lilo and Stitch is the next one. And that one actually looks cool. So.
I was about to say, that I think will actually be a lot of fun.
So
I think Disney's actually going to make some money off that one.
Oh, I do too. I think that's
why are you able to succeed at that, but you couldn't succeed at the very first film they ever did?
Well, did you watch the trailer for Lilo and Stitch?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, go watch the trailer because that'll show you why we think it's going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. I never saw the animated one.
The animated one's. Are you serious? Have you not seen it?
We never watched it. It came out when
with all your nieces and whatnot. You never saw it. That came back. That came out when? When did that come out? That's like around 2000.
Yeah, it was somewhere around
2002.
There. Yeah.
I never saw it. I got to watch it with Charlie.
Yeah, Lilo and Stitch is great. That is worth. That is a fun movie, and the trailer looks like it has the feel of it, and it doesn't look like a frame-by-frame remake, but it has the essential things that you need. So,
got it. All right.
Hey, Bob, you were saying, didn't you think that's going to be the first billion?
Yeah, I think that's going to be the first movie this year that's going to make $1 billion. I was looking at everything else that's coming out before. I don't think anything is going to hit it. Lilo and Stitch, plus it's got the Memorial Day weekend. I think that's going to be the one.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. All right. Well, let's go ahead and go to our final topic of the night then, gentlemen.
All right.
In a comic, you know how you can tell who the arch villain's going to be? He's the exact opposite of the hero.
So it's been a while, but we have decided to continue our underrated movies. And this week, Bob had his choice, and he actually had a great choice because it was a movie I had not seen. And that movie was Unbreakable, starring Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson. Anyway, let's see what your opinions are. What if you still think it holds up? Derek, what'd you think?
I saw this movie Thanksgiving break with my sister. I was telling Bob this.
Yeah.
And when we walked out of the theater, my sister looks at me. She goes, "Was it just me? Was that really good?" And I said, "I think it was really good, maybe even a little bit better." This movie is fantastic, and it will catch you completely off guard if you have not seen it. Because you have, and maybe that was kind of the most fun about it, was the fact that when we were going into it, it's not like I didn't have expectations. I was just kind of like, oh, well, Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson, it can't be that bad, right?
Right.
But it ends up being some of the most fun that you get caught off guard with. The story is fantastic. The story gets into everything. If you're comic book dorks, like plenty of us are, like myself,
You bunch of losers!
I've been waiting for that. I thought you were going to do that for Snow.
I was waiting for a spot, but that was too perfect, Derek. Thank you.
he's got it like queued up, just waiting to push a button.
Oh my
That's
god!
great. It is a fantastic movie because it gets down to the roots of why you fall in love with superheroes and supervillains, what they're supposed to be. And it does it in a very, very, very creative, very dark, very gritty way. The performances are awesome. I think it may be some of Bruce Willis's best work, and I'm not kidding when I say that. I think it's genuinely some of his best stuff. And Samuel Jackson's too. Samuel Jackson's a work of art in this movie. It has Robin Wright in it, and she's never hard on the eyes. By the way, Josh, that was number 1 for the romantic movies.
Oh,
Princess
yeah?
Bride.
Yes, I know.
Number 1.
Thank you, Derek.
Thank you. With a bullet. All right. The whole movie has really wonderful storytelling throughout all of it too, because it's about Bruce Willis basically not believing in the fact that he's a superhero at all, but all these little pieces of basically a brick wall start building up when you come to realize that that is what he is. And it crescendos at the end in a big climax where he demonstrates all his superpowers, which is great. There's not much I could praise this all day. Really, I could. But if you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor, man. Sit down and have a watch. You will not be disappointed. Not at all.
Okay. Bobo, what do you
All
think?
right. So, this movie was an underrated movie because it didn't do very well at the box office when it first came out. And it developed a cult following over the years, and that's how it became a popular film. Now, this movie actually followed The Sixth Sense, and it was actually marketed like kind of a supernatural, psychological thriller. It wasn't marketed as a comic book movie or an origin story. It wasn't marketed that way at all. And I think that's kind of what hurt it. People were thinking, oh, okay, this is just another M. Night Shyamalan film, because at that time he was still brand new, but we knew him from The Sixth Sense, and it was starring Bruce Willis. It's like, okay, it's another one of these. I think that kind of hurt it as far as the marketing, and I think that's why it was an underrated film, because it didn't do what it could have had they marketed it correctly. Okay. Now, the story itself, I think, is incredibly well done.
Yeah.
The best description I've ever heard of this came from Quentin Tarantino. And he said that Unbreakable is a retelling of the Superman mythology, but it's told in a way that what if Superman lived among us, but he didn't know he was Superman? And that's essentially what this movie is.
Yeah.
It's this guy who went through his whole life, and even Samuel L. Jackson says that there are people like this on the world. That's his theory, and they probably don't even know it. So he's gone his whole life not realizing there was something special about him. You know, he never got sick or any of that, but he never even thought about it. It was just,
Right.
oh, okay. Like there's a point in the movie where he's trying to remember if he had gotten sick before, and he's asking his wife, he's like, do you remember me getting sick? I know I wasn't sick this year, you know, so he's thinking I must have been sick at some point. So he doesn't even really even remember that. So he doesn't know that he's special. He was a football player, apparently a very good one because of his abilities. But again, people just talked it up to, well, he's got natural talent. And then as he survives this train wreck, and he's the sole survivor, not only the sole survivor, but there is nothing wrong with him, not a scratch, nothing. And Samuel L. Jackson starts reaching out to him, telling him, I have this theory. And through that connection that he makes with Samuel L. Jackson's character, with Elijah is the name of the character. Bruce Willis character's Bruce Willis's character, David Dunn, he starts to realize that there's something different about him. And it's a very good kind of mystery that kind of unfolds, a good origin story as we learn more about David, and we realize that he is exactly what Elijah thinks that he is. And it was just incredibly well done. Like you said, Derek, this is one of Bruce Willis's best performances, if not his best. Samuel L. Jackson is fantastic in this movie as Elijah Price, and I think the two of them play off of each other very well. The final 30 minutes of the movie are incredible, where he's having that flashback where he's standing in front of the train and he sees the spot where he was sitting, and he has the flashback to this car accident that he was injured in, and it turns out he wasn't really injured, and you see him have a heroic moment in that, and then that leads into him going, and you see, like you said, you see all of his powers on display. And it's a very grounded movie. These are not powers where he's flying around or anything. It's like Samuel Jackson says, for him, it's instinct. And I love the way that it's done. It's a very well crafted movie. And the twist at the end that turns out that Samuel L. Jackson's character is actually the arch villain, or he's meant to be Bruce Willis's arch villain. I thought that was a very well done scene. The soundtrack to this movie is incredible. I think just from the start of the movie, where you're seeing the scene where Elijah was born and his mom's being told that he's got the broken arms and legs, and you hear that soundtrack kick in that spot. It's intense. That same soundtrack you hear playing during the scene where he's in the bus station, and he's trying to, it was a bus station, I think.
Yeah, I think you're,
you know, having everybody bump into him, and he's seeing what they did wrong. And just the music during the scene where he's fighting against they call him the Orange Man because of the orange suit. And that's another thing. If you notice, a lot of the characters, they're wearing very specific colors. All throughout the film, David Dunn is wearing green. That is his color.
Yeah.
Samuel L. Jackson is wearing purple. That is his color. You've got the man in the orange jumpsuit. Several of the characters that bump into David Dunn, they all have a very specific color for them. So I thought that was very interesting the way they did that. And I saw an interview with Shyamalan who said that he did that because that's very characteristic of comic books. For certain characters have a color associated with them. So a very well done movie, very well grounded. This was a superhero origin story that came out before superhero movies really became popular. It's a fantastic movie. Like Derek said, if you haven't seen it, go see it.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, this was the first time I had seen it, and I thought it was excellent. I thought it was amazing. Question: Did he ever? He never caught the guy in the camouflage, right? With the gun.
No. But that wasn't important.
Okay.
The thing is that he had seen when the guy when he kind of bumped into the guy.
Yeah.
He'd kind of seen that he was carrying a weapon, and the whole point of that sequence was just to show Elijah that David had this instinct, this ability to know when somebody had done something wrong.
Got it. All right. No, the whole thing was very well done. Was not boring at all. It started off so quick with Samuel L. Jackson's character being born, and them saying he's got osteogenesis imperfecta, and stage 1, and just the whole thing was. I mean, like Bob said, you got to see it because this is a perfect origin movie, Josh, and you love origin movies. I've
been telling you for years to watch this movie because I know you love origin movies.
No,
and this was the one.
It was very done. I got a little confused towards the end, but then Bob kind of guided me through it, and I was like, okay, I understand now. But
you got confused on the scene where they had the flashback to David saving Audrey. He didn't realize that's what that was flashing back to.
Yep. That was
right.
how you kind of see him be a hero for the first time, right? When he
rips
open his door and pulled her out.
Yeah.
And you realize that he had lied the whole time. He never was injured in that accident.
Right. And then just the twist with Samuel L. Jackson that he's caused it all. He was this terrorist in a way.
The great moment when the twist actually hits and the plane crashes.
Yes.
And everybody's running over to the window except him.
Yes.
That is magic. That is so good. Oh, beautiful work.
I mean, it was just so well done. I like the football player reference. This cornerback can run 4.3, and he's going to be a first-round pick in the draft. And Bruce Willis goes, "Yeah, I've heard something about him." So, yeah, I thought that was cool. Yeah, I thought it was a really great movie. I'm glad I finally saw it. Great pick by you, Bob. Yeah, I've actually watched. We've watched some really good movies that I had not seen in the last year.
You got to see Split. Also,
Split's amazing.
And what about Glass? Wasn't that
Glass is pretty good too? Yeah, see them all.
Yeah,
Glass had a little bit of a controversial ending, but it didn't bother me.
Okay.
But it did have a little bit of a controversial ending. But Split is amazing because Split, it turned out the twist on that, because Shyamalan loves to have twists in all of his movies. The twist with Split was that it wasn't that you were watching a horror, a thriller, which is what you thought you had been watching this whole time.
Right.
The twist was that the Unbreakable music kicks in. That soundtrack kicks in. And they have that scene with Bruce Willis at the end of it. And when that hit, everybody who was watching that movie that had seen Unbreakable, that for years had been saying, come back to this. Come back to this.
Yeah.
That was the twist, that we were watching the origin of a supervillain. And that's what made it a great movie, because that was the twist, that this whole time he was playing around, Shyamalan was playing around with the Unbreakable world, and we didn't even know it until the end, and he brings it together. So yeah,
it'll shake you in like the best ways when it gets to that.
And James McAvoy is fantastic in it.
He deserved every single Oscar, like every goddamn award you could think of. He deserved after that.
And you know what? Anna Taylor-Joy was pretty dang good in that movie too.
Yes, she was, absolutely. Yes.
So what came next? Glass or
Split is next, and then Glass.
Next. Yeah.
Because Glass brings everything together.
Yeah, you find out why James McAvoy, why the character that he is, why he becomes important.
And you know he's an Unbreakable.
Where's he in Unbreakable?
Okay, you remember the scene where David's at the stadium, and it's right before he gets the call that his son had been in a fight, and a lady bumps into him, and you hear a kid scream, and he kind of turns and looks at him, and this lady's walking away with her son. That's supposed to be
him.
James McAvoy's character and his mother.
His messed up mom.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Oh
We didn't know it then.
No.
We don't find out until later that that's who that was. But yeah, that's who he makes an appearance there.
That's beautifully well done. That's so
Amazing.
good. Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you guys for getting me to watch it. I enjoyed it.
I knew you would. I knew you would love
I
it.
thought it was cool. I thought he would have done more with the train if he had saved people, but I guess not, because he still really didn't know what he could do.
Well, it's like I told you, Josh. Have you ever been in a flipped over train?
Yes, 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
My point is, when that thing's rolling and derailing and all of that stuff, I don't think he's getting up and grabbing everybody. Plus, he didn't even know. My guess is he was holding on for dear life, hoping that he didn't die.
Yeah,
My guess is he was thrown from the train, because they said that they found him, so he was probably buried under
It was
something.
launched.
I mean, he may be strong, but he does have limits too. I mean, he's not Superman.
Let me ask you this, Derek. I asked Bob this. Do you think he saved that one person who was alive, who I guess ended up dying, or no? In the train.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Good question. I'm not sure.
I don't think so, because it seems like Bruce Willis is kind of trying to figure out what the heck's going on. Maybe he got knocked out or something, because
yeah, that's true.
Because again, he does have limits. I mean, he's not
Right.
like he's not flying around or anything. In fact, Elijah tells him that, you know, your abilities, he says the abilities of these people that I think are out there, they got exaggerated for comic books, so they're just based on a truth. In fact, he even tells him on the scene after his son had pulled the gun on him, and he tells him, you know what, my son tried to kill me or shoot me last night, and he tells him, I never said you couldn't get killed. So yeah, he's got a few limits.
Yeah.
But
Actually,
but when you watch Split, based on David's abilities, I do think the bullet would have bounced off, or not necessarily bounced off of him, but it wouldn't have penetrated his skin.
He can withstand a lot.
Yeah.
Let's say it that way. And one more point, the score is beautiful. It's really, really, really well done. And for as beautiful as the score is, they do some great stuff not having music too. The scene when he's doing the bench press, and it's making it seem like all the grit he has to like really put into it is really, and like his son's just sitting there staring at him. There's no music in it, and it's just perfect. It's so well done. You just hear him like on the bench lifting God knows how much weight, proving how strong he is.
What was it, 350 or something, right?
Yeah. You know, there's a scene that was deleted, and I've got the deleted scenes on the DVD that I've got, where he actually goes to the university, because remember, he's working there as a security guard at the university, and so he goes to the university, to the weight room, to test it, and he puts something like 500 pounds or something like that on there, and you see him bench it, and as soon as he puts the bar back up and kind of sits up, everybody is just staring at him.
That's fantastic.
So yeah,
that's great.
But Shyamalan's reason for taking it out was because he said we had already done that scene to show that he was strong with the bench press with his son. I felt like it was just overkill, so he took it out.
Nah, okay.
I like how he had the pink hands on each end.
Yeah.
Because they ran out of weights. That was cool. I don't know which part I would have liked more, if I liked the one we got or the deleted scene.
Well, both would have been in the movie. It was just to cut it down for time. He just thought, okay, well, we've already established this. There's no reason to establish it again. Because he was like, I really liked the scene, but I had to take it out. Oh, and that reminds me, Shyamalan actually, like he does in all of his movies, made a cameo, He's the guy that at the stadium, Bruce Willis approaches saying, we've had problems with people selling drugs.
That's right. Who was
That
getting
is
the
Shyamalan.
popcorn, and he patted him down. Yes, and he
Yes.
looked in the pocket.
That
Now,
was him.
my guess
Wow.
is he had already gotten rid of the drugs at that point, because I think Bruce Willis's vision was true.
Oh,
but
really?
I think he had already gotten rid of the drugs at that point.
Wow.
But yeah,
Okay.
he actually makes an appearance in that, and it's funny because later in Glass, he shows up, and he sees Bruce Willis. He's like, "Hey, I want to thank you because years ago you set me straight up at the university. I was dealing drugs and stuff like that." So I thought that was cool. I'm like, "Oh, so they acknowledge that was his character." So
That is cool.
That's great.
All right. Well, very good choice, Bobo. All right. Well, gentlemen, very good show tonight. Why don't we finish up like we always do with social media? Derico, where can we find you?
No change recently. It would still be Facebook and LinkedIn.
Okay.
Mhm.
Bobo, where can we find you?
over on my YouTube channel at Bob Loves Movies. Tomorrow, I'm hoping to go see the first 2 episodes of The Chosen season 5. They're releasing it to theaters. They're going to release the first 2 episodes this week, the next 3 episodes next week, and the last 3 episodes the following week. And then the show won't go to streaming until June, but it'll have a limited theatrical release up through Easter. So it's only about 3-4 weeks that it's going to be out, but looking forward to going to see that. And so I should have a review out on that. And you can also find me on Critic List and on X. And as always, our social media will be in the description below.
All right, gargoyles. Very cool. That was for Derek.
Appreciate that.
Anyway, you can catch me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and TikTok. I'm the family man of the Valley, realtor here in Southern California. You want to buy or sell your house? Let me know. All right, gentlemen, great show tonight. Everybody, thanks for watching. We'll see you next Wednesday. Have a great night. Later.
Good night.